and welcome back to Spekd. I have truly been blessed by an Nurgle this week and have been totally run down and full of cold. But regardless of that, welcome back to Spekd. Today we're going to be looking at Warhammer Conquest issue number 20. Maybe this will make me feel better. As you can see there, we've got our container, but it's on the front of the magazine, unlike last time, which is a bit different. And before we get to the rest, let's open it up and have a look. Okay, so let's have a look. This is exactly the same container as before, and it was just, these are easy and fun to paint. Now, I know there is more terrain in future issues, and that'd be great, but I'll be honest with you, I actually really enjoy painting these now. And terrain, it's just so much fun. It's so easy and so quick. It doesn't take any time, and you know, I'm looking forward to seeing the rest. But let's continue, make a start. So we've got our Minotaurium armored container, Codex Astartes, and setting up terrain. So this issue itself is focused around the Ultramarines. Okay, so Ultramarine successor chapters, honor badges, let's bring that closer. Codex Astartes, armor container, build patterns, that's going to be the same. Duel of Champions, that looks like it could be interesting. And setting up the battlefield. Okay, and knowing where to put your terrain is actually quite key when playing a game. And the way it's played now, which is you take turns setting up or you go to a standard setup, it's really handy. Terrain is important for protecting your models. So successor chapters. So we understand this if you're new to this. If you know about 40k, you know about successor chapters and groupings. But to prevent the main legions from getting too large, they split them up into successor chapters, or they move away to take care of certain areas and they become specialised in particular tactics. And that spawns these successor chapters. And the root chapter for these guys are the Ultramarines. Now they work the same way. They might have one or two special different abilities, but really, all in all, it's the same. So what you're looking at is alternative paint schemes. Now again, I think that they should have brought this out like in the first 2 episodes or 2 issues of the magazine of both the Death Guard and the Space Marines, so you can make a decision on what you wanted rather than kind of forcing you towards one goal. Okay, so here's more here. Now the Hawk Lords, when it came to Dark Vengeance box set, was the first set I ever picked up, and the Hawk Lords were the first colours I actually painted up without realising. And I came across the Emperor's Children first. I was quite disappointed that I painted up my Space Marines as the Emperor's Children, although they are pretty cool. It's just the colour scheme just works so well. It makes them seem very elite. We have the others here. Brilliant. Okay, honour badges. Now, I don't know if you remember when I mentioned painting the little details, and this is, I mean, vets that spend a lot of time creating the models, painting them, people think, oh, they take too long to paint them, or like, why they taking all that time? But really, taking time to paint these items mean that you'll actually use them. And I tend to use these on characters that have things like master crafted weapons, or they might be captains, or they have different effects in the games. And if you take the time to paint them, it will help you to remember them. Okay, and remember the effects as well. So continuing, yep, we've got purity seals and service studs, and I believe there in that picture, I think just there, there we go, on his forehead, he actually has a service stud. So that's if the character survived quite a while on the battlefield. So when painting your model, it might be very hard to see. So Codex Astartes. So this is how the Space Marines should work. It's like the not the Bible, but kind of like the songbook, which every chapter should really work to, like the goals everyone works to. But it doesn't always work like that, because unfortunately people have their secrets. But when you have a look at 40k, you'll understand a bit more. So there's your different chapters, they're listed there, and deviating from the codex. So it's actually telling you what actually happens if you go wrong. You've got excommunicated there, classed as traitors, and that's that battle from the Horus Heresy. And if you remember, I did actually mention who the winner was, and I believe it was PB. I can't remember now, but anyway, have a look in the last video. Collect your prize; it's still yours. Armor containers, elastic bands. Don't forget that, as we saw before. The build instructions. All I can say is once you've kind of glued it, elastic band it, just keep it all together, put it on the side, and just put like a book across the top, like this edge, so it's on a flat surface, so everything stays flat. Otherwise you might get it slightly twisting towards the most tension or the torsion of the elastic band. Let's just bear that in mind. That's all the same. Painting, yeah, paint these differently. Don't be afraid to paint them differently. And they're talking about here. They like to use up a lot of paint. I mean, just sponge it on, but it doesn't have to be the whole thing, and you've seen them before. If you have a look at my previous videos, you'll see what I've done there. But yeah, small little details work really well. Okay, I think I've done quite a lot on this one. So we've seen these before. Promethean. Best bet is Google containers and find out what the contents hold for different colours. Like radioactive waste is like a yellow colour, or biohazardous waste, from what I can remember. Flammables, reds. Corrosive chemicals, I think maybe blue. Can't remember offhand, but have a look. Get that in there. Okay. Moving on to Duel of Champions. What do we have here? Lord Felfius, take the cohort, 5 plague marines. Okay, so this is coming down to like a head-to-head battle. This is where all the other battles that you've been playing and you've been learning kind of come to head and come together before you move on to the main map. Now I have displayed the main map, but I don't think we're actually using it yet. Okay, yep, so we're still on a small map. There's a little bit of history there. Setting up your battlefield, your terrain. So now you've got all your pieces of terrain. It shows you how to set up. That's looking good. And choosing deployment zones. This can win you the battle right here. If you're used to picking, or if you get to decide where you place your models, you can gain so much advantage. Just a simple thing like this, if you're starting second, you have cover. So you don't have to worry about the enemy just sniping your characters or effectively wiping you off the board before you had a chance. So you see how they've deployed down here? I'll probably deploy here. Away. Okay. We can see there the big map. I've already set this up, so you've had a look already with the models that we had at the time. I didn't have these guys ready. I have to paint up Lord Felfius at the minute, and the little Nurglings and items that go on the bases, as you can see there. But I'll show you these later on. So other than that, oops, sorry, we have our Reavers, Space Ninjas, with a core rule sheet, and I think it comes with a mini book. We have our Astra Granite basing. Never use a brush to apply this stuff. As I said before, just stick with like a lollipop stick or something. It's a lot easier. You can just throw it away when you're done. And you can mix this stuff yourself. A little bit black paint, white paint, a little bit of brown. I think I showed you this before, but and maybe with a little kind of colouring. Add some filler, a little bit of sand, and some white glue, and then you've made your texture. Okay, all right. So that's this magazine. We're going to have a look at these models, not the container. I'll build that for future, but for now we'll have a look at those models, and we'll get back to you.
I need to show that these models were ancient, because what I had in mind is like they were probably nearly 10,000 years old, just powered by Nurgle. And I don't know if the cold got to me, but I figured that was a good idea. And I had the armour eroded and weathered, rather than having it kind of just battle damage. I like the idea of thinking that due to age, even the paint, the bright white paint, has totally kind of come off the enamel kind of colouring, and it's just down to the core of the metal. I used a light varnish on the tentacles to make them stand out and seem wet, but even when you get closer to the models, you can see that it had so much detail to work with that it was so much fun. Getting involved with the levers and, you know, the horns, it was just so different with each one, and I really like those features. One of the things I kept uniform also was the plague weapons. I like to make sure that weapons stay the same. Anyway, that's it for now.
With the bases, I kept it very simple and uniform, but with a definite touch of Nurgle. I can see them stepping out the warp, and everywhere they step becoming decayed and eroded and destroyed. Just bringing that corruption with them. That is really kind of cool to do. Adding to the story that we spoke about earlier. With the axe, I really enjoyed doing this. A lot of deep browns, touches of silver highlights, really brought everything through nicely. I'm really pleased with that. Oh, I think that brings together everything quite nicely for the first 20 issues of the magazine. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in the future, even though I've been there. And I've had a lot of fun with this so far, and I'm hoping you're having fun too. Either way, get out, use your models, or take your time paint, whatever aspect of the hobby that is that you enjoy. I hope you've enjoyed that time. I've enjoyed my time, and as always, this has been Spekd. PC out.